All right, it's that time again. I've hit the button, the go live button. So I think we're live. So looking at chat, it looks like Sutton Road was here an hour early. If you're still here, welcome. Thanks for dropping in if you came and gone. Then Uncle Smiley and Skull came in. Welcome, guys. Looks like people are starting to pop in here. And we'll get this thing going. I don't know where the weekend went. I know where it went, but it's flew by. I spent the whole weekend helping move. And I hate moving. And when it's not me moving, I don't know if it's better or worse when I have to help move. Because I help and then it's done. But then if it's not me, the one that's relocating, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyways, that's what I've done all weekend was help someone move. And looked up and it's Sunday evening. Looks like Sanders Aquatics came in. Welcome. Progenal Aquarist. Don, welcome. Christian B 1969, welcome. Yeah, that's what I did this weekend, and it made for a quick weekend. I try to watch some YouTube videos, but it's hard to carry a couch or a mattress or something and watch YouTube videos. So didn't get much of that done, but that's on my schedule for the rest of the week is to catch up on videos. I've been working on the fish room about reorganizing and stuff, and almost got this area over here ready to put the rack in for the grow out project, or whatever you want to call it, the breeding project. And had a little excitement with some electric and stuff like that, but looks like Dawn's weekend starts now. Congratulations. The start of the weekend seems to always be a good thing. Elite Menagerie Habitats. If I remember correctly from last week, that's Louise. And again, my memory is horrible, so I can't even remember my own name half the time. But she says, my first day off since New Year's Day. It's so relaxing. Looking forward to your stream. Well, I'm glad you're looking forward to it. I hope it doesn't disappoint. I've been thinking about how I can make it more appealing and enjoyable for you. Also, if you have ideas, let me know. One thing I'm trying to do more is give a topic of, instead of me not knowing what to say and just sitting here like, kind of have something as a topic that we could discuss. And so like this time I put on there that it was, how can clubs connect with the new generation? And kind of what I had in mind with that is I've seen clubs starting up like YouTube channels and getting online, making Facebook pages. Like my club, we will record the meetings, the presentations that we have, and have it like archived on our website that you have to be a member of the club and have a password to get into to see them, just to have a kind of like an online presence also, because I know like a lot of the new generation, they can listen to you say something and think it's really cool. And maybe that's part of what it's rubbing off on me. It's like I can listen to it and think it's cool, and then tomorrow forget all the details of it and wish that I could go back and have that conversation again. And so like having the video online kind of gives you that option that you can go back and look at it again, like, oh, so that's how they said to breed this rainbow fish or whatever it might would have been. And then I've seen clubs and organizations stuff. Let's say, for example, start YouTube channels, and the thought kind of crosses my mind of what do they need to do? Like there's the whole like TikTok-y trend thing of doing these weird dances and stuff. That gets a lot of attention, but that's kind of not the angle that the clubs and stuff are wanting to go. But if they just like, this is a neon tetra, its lifespan is 3 years, it gets 2 inches long, that's not really appealing either. So maybe it's like a in between that they need something kind of flashy and they need something kind of informative also, and just mesh the things together. I'm not sure. Checking back here, looks like Zen Ginger's come in. Welcome in, Zen. I do think that, like with clubs, and whether it's a national club, a local club, a regional club, there needs to be more connection with an online community, whether through forums or social media like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, that type of stuff. Because a lot of the people nowadays are on the internet. I mean, we carry it around in our pockets, and a lot of the younger people can't go 5 minutes without looking at their phone or checking for Wi-Fi or something. Nancy B, welcome in. Nancy says, hello, everyone. Hello, John. That you didn't come to the club meeting yesterday. I got to go. Yep, that's part of it. And overspent on a pair of Apistos. Oh, nice. I wanted to come to the meeting. A few of the guys from down there texted me, asking me if I was coming down. And I'd already made commitments to help move, and didn't want to leave them sitting with, without an extra set of hands. I can't lift a whole lot, I can't move a whole lot, but every extra hand helps in that type of situation, I know. But got a pair of epistles. That's awesome. What kind did you get? I got a couple different pairs up here. And looking back, I believe last week, Curtis guessed the species name of them correctly. This one that I had the question about, I remembered it started with a B, but had it written down elsewhere. When I looked it back up, I think it matched exactly what he typed. But I'm kind of getting back into them. I haven't done Apistos in years. And neither of the tanks is really set up for Apisto ideal conditions, or whatever you want to say. So I may do that. I keep thinking about it, but I never get around to actually doing it. And while I'm thinking about it, good news, I thought all my guppies outside had got eaten by the raccoons, or raccoon. But I know that I haven't seen any adult guppies in the tub, but I did see a ton of fry. So hopefully they're too small for the raccoon to mess with, and they can stay hidden in the plants, and I can pull some guppy fry out of the tubs, and it won't be a total loss for this season. Oh, Borrelia with location from the speaker. So the speaker spoke about Uruguay, I believe. Did he collect them in Uruguay? That's pretty neat. It's neat when you can get wild collected from the person's source, like the person that actually collected them. They can tell you about where they were and and the habitat and conditions and stuff that they were in. Like I remember hearing somebody talk about some cories they collected that they were in a stream and didn't see anything there, and it was a bunch of leaf litter, and they just netted a bunch of leaf litter, and under the first one or two layers of leaves was a ton of cories, and they in that stream were hiding under leaf litter. And I just thought that was so cool that I would have never thought cories and leaf litter. Like when I picture cories in an aquarium, I'm thinking sand and plant growth and stuff. But it makes sense that they would be in between the leaf litter in the wild. So it's I don't know, just I find it neat to see and hear about the natural habitats of where these fish come from. Zen says, especially if the place that has export rules, other folks can't get them. Yeah. And I've seen some fish come back from collection trips that had export rules, had rules about taking fish out of the country, and that no one was allowed to take fish out of the country. And somehow, specimens from locations in that country made it to the U.S. into the hobby. I don't know anything about that, but I may have heard or seen that happen. But I think having wild caught fish in the hobby is an important thing. Of course, not over harvesting, if you want to use the word harvest, or over collecting the fish from the wild. But I think keeping wild caught specimens, introducing those into bloodlines that are in captivity, I think it's very important to keep the genetic diversity, to keep the bloodlines and everything healthier. And then especially with like rare and endangered and all that type of stuff, if we don't start keeping that stuff in captivity more, we run a higher risk of just losing it altogether. It looks like Nancy is swearing that these are legal fish, that you can't export them, but they got here legally. And Zen thinks she knows the guy that he got them from. That Zen says she thinks she knows the guy that Nancy got the fish from. He was selling them out of the trench coat. I felt like that at times. That had meetups to trade fish or to sell fish to somebody or something like that. And we meet up in a parking lot or something. And like we're dealing fish out of the trunk of a car, and I feel like we're just getting weird looks from people as they drive by. But it's felt weird, just that back alley fish trading. Because people don't understand, you meeting somebody up and handing them some money, and you get a bag of something that you tuck away really quickly, and they don't get it. Let's see. Fish the keeping. Welcome in. What fish? I believe we're talking about some Pisto Borellii that Nancy swears are legal. I made sure that I wasn't there so that she could get there and get the potentially legal fish. Dark alley fish sales. That would be a good name for a series of videos where you video like the trading that goes on in the parking lots and behind department stores and whatnot. So let's see. Next is saying commercially they can't be exported, only these touristy collecting trips. Which, in my mind, a touristy collecting trip, which is a business, makes money, that they collect the fish and send them out of the country, that would classify as a commercial endeavor. And since they're leaving the country, it's exporting. Would that be commercial exporting? Let's see. Zen says, I was excited. I was all excited about my McMaster eye, and Nancy went and got fancier ones. A fancier McMaster eyes? Personally, I like McMaster eye a whole lot better than Borrelia. I had some McMaster eye. I said it's been a while since I've had a Pistols. I guess it hasn't because I had McMaster eye. I got them from, I got a pair of them from somebody up in like Northwest Ohio. And I kept them for a little bit, but I really didn't try that hard with them, and ended up like trading them out for something else to somebody. I wish I hadn't, because I liked those a whole lot. I traded them out because I said I wasn't into Pistos and South American cichlids. And I keep saying I'm not into cichlids, but I keep getting them. And I just need to admit that I do like them. Ooh, I didn't know it could make my chat bigger. That's awesome. I like that I just did that. I know y'all can't see it, but I've been going off of a teeny tiny little chat screen, and I just made it like huge. So much easier. But yeah, I want to try more Pistos. As I look at these that I have back here, I like the look of them and actually put effort into them. Zen says, not if they can only take 10 fish home, and they have to be and then they have to be a breeder to make it commercial. And that's done back home. Yes, potentially. I know the collecting trips that have went to Uruguay have brought, and maybe it's 10 fish per individual, but I know there's been a lot more than 10 per trip that have came back to the U.S. Or maybe they weren't supposed to, and it just happened. It's just one of those things that things just happen. Looks like Johnny's getting a Marlowe and Calanderi. I'm not used to the Pisto names yet. I can get Cockatoides right, Borrelia. And kind of thinking of the fish club connecting with the younger generation type thing. I've thought for a while, maybe they need to work more with the common names of fish. And then I come into a situation where somebody says, well, I got the black barred blah, 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 whatever the common name is for that fish. And I've never heard of that fish. And then they look it up on Google and find out the scientific name. I'm like, oh, I've never heard it called that. I always hear it called the silver stripe, blah, 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 blah. and realized that common names are um, hard to deal with. That people can be talking about two different fish and using the same name, or talking about the same fish and using two different names, and make it very confusing. And especially when it's something like in the Goodie, it's the red tail split fin, and there's three different species that use that common name, and they all look identical. Scotty the Fish Freak, welcome in, Scotty. Hello, just got home from work, catching up from the beginning on double time. So I need to do something just for fun, and like put the first like 10 minutes of the stream out, like pre-record it and put it out, speak, like record it and speed it up to like double time, and then put it out as it goes. That way when Scotty comes and rewatches it on double time, he's getting it like 4 times as fast. That would be fun for about 2 seconds. Wouldn't be fun for anybody else. Let's see. Barlowi is a mouth brooder, and the other one is the largest epissa. I need to work more with mouth brooding species, and maybe a good place to start with that is with like Malawi cichlids. I had some Malawis when I had my, what was that, 65. It was like a cube tank. I had some, I think there were peacocks that they bred and did their mouth brooding thing, and I got some fry out of it, and that was really cool, and then the whole tank crashed. I haven't really dealt with mouth brooders that much. I have mouth brooders now, but haven't ever bred them, and really I'm not familiar with the look of a mouth brooding fish. People's like, oh, you can just look at her and tell she's holding. Well, I can't. I'm not used to seeing that. I'm not used to knowing. I had some red empress years ago, and didn't know what was wrong with them. I thought, I was going to lose one of the females because she never came out and eat, and she hid all the time and stuff. And I gave them away to somebody because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with these fish apparently, and just don't have the right setup. And the reason that she wasn't eating and was hiding apparently was she was holding fry. So maybe I need to start looking at some. I mean, I'm really not a Malawi cichlid person. I really don't. They don't really appeal to me, but maybe. I mean, I would like the. I enjoy breeding things, and that would be a good start, I believe. The problem with the Malawi cichlids for me is, as far as I know, they need larger tanks, and I just don't have larger tanks. I mean, I've got this 65 over here that's the footprint of a 55. I don't know if that'd be big enough for anything or not. I'll have to do a little more research, I guess. Johnny thinks the younger people appreciate the scientific side more. Okay, good to know. I didn't. I don't know. I don't know what. I know that, like with my club, we're trying to introduce more internet stuff. We're trying to make it so that people can join and get benefits of the club. Just sign up as a member and get special benefits online, even if you can't come to the meetings and stuff. And hope that will entice more people to actually come to the meetings too. We've been talking about doing more social media, Instagrams and TikToks and all that kind of stuff, but getting somebody in the club that can or will do that is a little more challenging. So I'll have to come back and look and see what species that is that Johnny says is a good mouth brooding genus to start with. because I definitely can't pronounce that on the fly. And Sanders Aquatics. And I'm just going to assume until you tell me different. Anytime it pops up Sanders Aquatics, that's Tim. I don't know if both of you get on there at the same time or one or the other, but I'm just going to assume it's that it's Tim there. But he says I just got done stripping my yellow labs, and the one I'm assuming the ones in the video. I think maybe you posted today. I did get to watch that video about some changes coming to your fish room. I'm excited to see the changes, and I was thinking, kind of feeling it whenever you were saying you didn't have time for this or that. I get it. I'm right there. I don't get the time to do the things that I want to do in here, and that's why I'm looking at more automation, automatic water changes, and I would like to get the automatic feeders just in case I'm out and have to work a 15-hour day and don't get time to get out here that day. That they at least get a small feeding or something. Joy of Fish Keeping, welcome in. If I'm correct, that's Jose. Hey, John, everyone lurking at work. Looks like I was right, Jose. Half the time this brain works and half the time it doesn't. I think more than half it doesn't. Like, went to the store today and I said, I won't remember what I need to get when I get to the store, so I need to make a list. So I got a piece of paper, got a pen, made a list, laid it on the counter, finally got time to go, and get to the store, get to the door to go into the store, realize the list is sitting on the counter. I've forgotten the list. So memory is not a strong point of mine. Johnny says, I think the youngest fish keeper I know is 29, though. I thought he was 14 or so until I asked the other day. Yeah, in our club, I know we have one really active member that's about 17, I think. We've got some younger that are taking part of like the family membership thing, that their parents are members and they're the kids are trying to be active in it also, as far as like being runners in the auction and bidding on stuff and sitting in on presentations and stuff like that. But and I know the Nashville club has at least one really young member that's pretty active. But yeah, and in my book, when I say the younger generation, 29 is in that category for me, because in general, the aquarium club scene, whether at the national level or local level, statistically, it's white males in their 60s. And getting somebody that's in the 30s or 20s is a draw, because they need younger people. I've heard that the national clubs, that the attendance is dropping like a rock, because the older generation is still signing up, but the younger generation are getting, they might have 4 or 5 not renewed for whatever reason that have been members for 50 years. And so you lose 5 and you gain 1 back in the younger generation, and it's just not keeping up with it. And I think it's losing a lot of traction in the local clubs, the regional clubs, and the national clubs, of not having the internet presence, kind of keeping a lot of the clubs keep kind of the little clique thing of these are the people that have been around forever, and somebody new comes in, they don't know how to connect with them, because a lot of us fish keepers are introverts, and we are, we got our close group, and we don't know how to make, let's say, new friends and connect with uh, new people when they show up, which kind of pushes people away, because I've heard people say they went to clubs and everybody just seems stuck up that nobody said nothing to them. That's because everybody's an introvert and doesn't know what to say, I think. So Jose's got a long day today. Try not to work too hard. At least you get to kind of lurk with the fish stuff a little bit. Nancy says the most exciting fish news I have. I think my big scientific name have laid eggs. Consulted with Jody this morning. You like how I fit that in, big scientific name? Consulted with Jody this morning, and she believes that is what I found also. She hasn't seen their eggs yet. And Zen says that this is why I should make a list on my phone. Well, funny story about that. I had a meeting earlier this week, last Monday, sometime, with people about next year's convention. And the meeting, we wanted to talk about what each of us liked about the Bluegrass Bash, what our experience as involvement in Bluegrass Bash, because I saw things that, say, Curtis didn't see, or that Nancy didn't see. And maybe Curtis saw stuff that I didn't see, using your all's names as examples, for example. That each of the people in the meeting saw stuff that the other person didn't see. And we had the meeting to kind of share and say, how do you make a convention better next year and not have the same mistakes that we had this year? Or what was really good this year that we want to carry over to next year? So I made a list on my phone, knowing that this was coming. Big, long list of bullet points and details about it. Comes meeting time. I don't know what I saved it under, where it is. I still don't know. I still haven't found that document. I don't know if I saved it on the cloud, on my work phone, on my personal phone, in an email. I don't know where I saved it. I'm forgetful about being forgetful. Nancy thinks Keith is 14. Wow. I thought he was younger than that. But still, 14's young. I don't know, I guess being around him for how many years? I think people don't grow up. You see them when they're little kids, and the next time you see them where you don't think about it, you're like, well, yeah, you're still in the 5th grade, right? No, I'm a junior in high school. Oh, where did time go? And Curtis thought he was the youngest person at the Clash. Probably depends on how you define youngest. Could have been. And Johnny says this channel, and I'm assuming he's talking about his channel, is going to aim at targeting a younger audience. I didn't like feeling like I was one of the youngest at the Clash. It's a thing, and be it the Clash, be it ACA convention, be it a local club meeting, I think the organized fish hobby in general has a gap there. I need to start lowering my camera down because I talk with my hands and they're down below the screen. There's a gap there that needs to be addressed and figure out how to bridge the gap to reach the 30-year-olds, to reach the 20-year-olds, and to reach the still in school group, to be able to continually feed memberships and interest into that organized aquarium hobby. Because me personally, I believe without the organized aquarium hobby, without the clubs and national events and stuff, that the hobby as we know it will cease to exist. Because I think the clubs and organizations are building a network, if you want to call it, of the breeders and supporting the local fish stores. And the big box stores are dwindling what they offer. And, they're not offering typically, black Moscow guppies and certain strains of guppies. It's just, these are some pretty guppies. And you lose a lot there. And a lot of the species, you don't get the Pisto borellii at your PetSmart. You lose a lot of species there. And as you, like if you were to lose the clubs and lose this network, and all you have is the big box stores, you dwindle and you dwindle and you dwindle what they offer, that you just lose the hobby. So yeah, I think there's a gap there that definitely needs bridged. Nancy says, younger people don't want to hang out with grumpy old men. Generally, yeah. And I think our society, our younger society, is a lot more visually oriented and a lot more flashy, that every couple seconds the image has to change. And a lot of the club and event and organized hobby as we have it is all like text and verbal based, that the old guys, as we mentioned them, will sit around and tell stories. They'll talk. And with the younger society, it just loses a lot. That there's not the movement, the flashiness, and all that. And I understand that a lot of people think that the video and the flashiness and the crazy excitement isn't important and isn't as professional looking and all that. But it seems like that's what is holding attention and getting people to make the connection for whatever reason. Sanders Aquatics says, all right, so Tim says, create a specific club role to recruit younger kids. Give them a title and goals and let them come up with their own ideas. That's a good idea. You have to have somebody that wants to do it, and then get the person that wants to do it to be someone that will have a connection that can attract young kids. That sounds bad. That can recruit the younger generations. Part of the problem is the people that want to do stuff, that will step up to do stuff, are the people that have just barely figured out how to answer emails. At least in my personal experience. Or, they're like, well, we need a presence on TikTok. Oh, okay, let's start a TikTok channel. or is it even called a channel? And nobody knows how to get on TikTok. So I think that's the right path, that you need a committee or a liaison or something leading the charge, but finding the person that can do it and will do it will be the challenge for all these organizations. And like I said, I've seen some of the national organizations and some of the regional clubs and stuff like that start social medias, like start like one of them, for example, started a Facebook page or Facebook group. They started a Facebook group, set it so that anybody trying to enter the group, trying to join the group, had to be approved by an admin. They only had one admin in the group. Set the group, I think by accident, to private and hidden, so that you can't find the group when you search it. You can't see anything in the group. And then they're posting in that group, hey, join the group. But nobody can see the group unless you're already in the group. And the only way you can be in the group is if somebody in that group sends an invite to you, because it's a hidden group. But I think it's because they just didn't know any better. Skull says, I'm not grumpy. I act my mental age. 12. My mental age. I don't know. Probably somewhere around there. 13, 14. You know. Johnny says, I thought AVNJ had huge potential to get a younger demographic into the hobby, but he's into fish in general and not really the hobby. Tim says maybe school involvement. Yeah, and that's stuff is like a lot of the people that, and that's kind of the gap there. Going back to, I think it was Johnny that said it. Somebody being into the hobby, being into the fish more than they are the hobby or the organized hobby, and that's part of the gap. Is the people, a lot of the people that have the dynamics and stuff that would attract the younger crowd don't see the benefit in the organized section of it, and we just need to get them together. And then the school involvement, I've had that idea also, making the connection and stuff, how to link it up is something. Nancy says, was the longest hallway in Kentucky something they wanted to replicate? No. And honestly, I don't know what happened there. On the original floor plans that I saw, because I looked back at my copies of stuff that I did get when I was getting them, and the original diagram showed the vendor room in the front, like where the speaker room ended up being. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was a acoustics thing, if it was something with the banquet that they had to have the banquet up front and they can't have the banquet where they have the vendor room, or what the issue was there. But that was discussed and brought up as a main thing that they said they've already fixed for the Wisconsin convention. But watching some of those guys ride dollies and carts and stuff when nobody else was looking down that sloped hallway, It was fairly entertaining, and I wish I got videos of it, but they could probably be incriminating. Let's see. Jose says, at this time, while in computer, can listen, not running around between patients' rooms at the time. Yeah, and I get it. I do that. I may or may not do that at work, sometimes myself. On breaks. Yeah, I get to do it on breaks. Nancy has to head back to work. That's a shame, but thanks for joining in. I'm sure you're already gone because I'm a little behind in chats, but thanks for joining in. And Zen's asking about hitting the likes. Cheryl came in. Welcome, Cheryl. MC Aquatics. Mike, I believe, right? Again, my brain's like telling me, no, that's not Mike, that's somebody else. But pretty sure it's Mike. Welcome in. Zen confirmed it for me a little further down. Yes, Mike. And part of the thing with the name Mike, I always think it gets Mike is because there's so many Mikes out there. I'm like, well, that's not Mike because this is Mike and that's Mike, so this can't be Mike. I think we did that at the Bluegrass Bash. There was like 6 Mikes standing beside each other. Okay, so me scanning down through the chats, I miss half of them. People saying hello and they come in and stuff. And then I have to go back like, oh, wait, somebody said hi to this person? So, and I did that with Vinosky, that I missed Vinosky coming in until I see Skull welcoming in Vinosky. So, welcome in, Vinosky, or anybody else that I've missed as I scanned down through there. Zen says, if you tell Mike at a Fish Fam convention, I bet that's supposed to be if you yell Mike at a Fish Fam convention, a quarter of the dudes are going to turn around and look. Yeah. It was funny. We were just happened to be standing around talking and realized that there were like 6 Mikes standing side by side. Some of them went by Mike or Michael or whatever, but yeah, that I've seen that with the name Mike. I've seen it with the name Tim and John, or the 3 names really that I've seen at fish clubs that there's been multiples of. I think 3 of the clubs that I've been to, there have been multiple Tims and multiple Mikes. 2 of them have had multiple Johns. But yeah, I want to come up with ways to make. I mean, I don't have a lot of say in like the regional clubs or the national clubs, but I want to come up with ways for like my local club to appeal more to the younger crowd, and when I say younger crowd, not necessarily age wise, but also the young in the hobby that, somebody's just went and got their first guppy at PetSmart. How do we get them attracted to the club? And so that's where we're working on, trying to expand our online presence and trying to expand social media. And we've added like contests and stuff. But it seems like the Breeders Awards program, that type of contest, isn't as popular as like the bowl show contest where people are like showing off their fish. And if we can ever figure out how to do a hands-on like aquascaping contest, I think that will attract people also. The aquascaping contests, like for the kids at the different events, seem to be popular, and like the Clash having the aquascaping contest. Those were usually popular. I understand why they were so expensive, but the price did push a lot of people away from doing the aquascaping at the Clash. But they were always full, and that's like my club's hurdle at this point is the the pricing of doing a aquascaping contest and the logistics of where to do it and all of that. Natural aquariums, welcome in. See, I missed flatbed coming in. I get out there and I see Zen saying, "Hey, to flatbed." I'm like, "Where was flatbed at?" 2 comments above. Uh, Lurking while driving. Be careful. Um, I may or may not have ended up having to get a couple different vehicles replaced because of attending a live stream and lurking while driving. Don says, I have no interest in BAP. I want to look after fish. I don't want certificates or trophies. Okay. And different, and that's part of the thing is like different people want different things, and how do we bring that, like wanting to look after fish? I'm not sure how to, one, what that really is, and 2, how to bring that appeal to people. Like the certificates and trophies, that part of the BAP is more or less trying to give people recognition. People want, a lot of people want to be told they do a good job. It's like, you're doing something awesome, great, thank you for doing that. And that's kind of what the awards and trophies are. It's like striving to be the best in something. I don't do the BAP for that. I do the BAP for the side of it of taking what I've got and sharing with someone else, and the side of it of the challenge. Can I do this? So that's just, that's me. Johnny says the dude who won the aquascape contest at the Clash was absolutely insane. And Skull says what I was thinking. Steve won the contest, right? I was thinking the same thing. But Johnny says he thinks it was Michael or something like that. And Don says, my point is the fish need the recognition. I don't feel the need for recognition. Oh, okay. So in my mind, that's something more like what my club has with like the conservation awareness program. That's still giving the person the recognition for keeping the fish. And I'm not sure how a fish would realize it was recognized. But it's something for me to keep in mind, and maybe I can figure out how to incorporate that into more of what we do also. Johnny says he got banned from the Clash before he won. Oh, okay. Okay, so we don't know who was the crazy guy, or I think didn't Steve put like glowfish in his tank, and that got the attention. I think pushed him over the edge. Aquafunk is here, eating and lurking. Well, welcome in, Aquafunk. It's a pleasure to have you here. I have put all the squirrels away, so it's a safe place. I used to be able to get in Aquafunk streams all the time and just give him a hard time about the squirrels. Work's keeping me away from it so much, I think. Oh, somebody did get um, thrown out of the clash. This last year's clash was a lot wilder than any that I've been to. Um, Unfortunately, it was probably the last clash um, since half of the entities that put it on are no longer in existence. And Johnny's going to ask Skittle Puke who the drunk guy was. Allie Sean, I don't think I've said welcome into you, but welcome in. VAP is also about spreading species to the club members. We asked for 6 of the young to be donated to the meetings for the auction. Yeah, my club does the same thing, and that is part of its mission is to recognize the people that do it, to share information, and to share the fish to each other. And we have seen our BAP bring new species into the state, into the region that haven't been here before just because somebody's looking for another fish to get points off of. Ali Sean says, we also have cash awards for the top 3 BAP point leaders. We introduced the cash prizes this year thinking that it would encourage participation, and it doesn't seem that it has done anything. We've got the same participants, the same level of participation as the last 2 years. I don't think cash has been a driver that people wanting it. But we'll keep trying it and see. Maybe it needs a couple years to gain its awareness. Johnny says we need a Midwest show like the Clash. If you build it, they will come. It just takes a couple people to start organizing the stuff and get it together and get the word out there and make it happen. The Clash had a benefit of its location because of the number of clubs that are in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, in that region there, that it can draw people in. And then when people on, say, YouTube start talking about it and draw more people in, that's what builds it up, makes it larger. And I think that similar events can be built up across the country, different times of the year, and still be very beneficial to all of them. Like, for example, the NEC is in April, I believe, and it's going to be in Pennsylvania, so they could potentially draw people in. Then you got the OCA in November up near Cleveland, so it could draw people in. And then you've got I believe there was an event down in Florida in October that could potentially pull people in. If they're a few months apart and people talk about them and stuff like that, there were club-run events all across the country that drew people in all the time, and I think it could happen again. I'm running out of time. Let me get through these as quick as I can. Johnny's 2 to 3 years out from being able to build it, so someone else do it. That's what everybody's been saying. I want it to happen. Somebody else do it. But I get it. And Ali Sean brought 6 zero plecos for BAP 20 years ago. Yeah, that is a shocker. Most people won't turn in their zebras for BAP. Scotty says 2 scenarios, 28 NAC will be big. Or I move to Tennessee and do an event out there with you guys that'll be big. I think either or both would be a possibility. Part of the problem with building a big event is also personalities. You got to get the right people working together, which it can be a problem in areas, and I know that it's been a problem with some other events and conventions, but I think we could work that out. Johnny says, I think Eastern Iowa or Western Illinois would be a solid location. Potentially. Ali Sean, that's pretty spectacular. Yep. I think Aquashella Dallas is the same weekend as NEC. Skull says. Aquashella is a beast all to its own. I don't even look at Aquashella anymore. Aquashella is below the bottom of my desires to go to. Johnny says he will live a few blocks from Fish Fan headquarters soon. Potentially, maybe. I didn't know that Fish Fam had a headquarters, but that's another subject. Scotty hasn't heard anything about 27 Aquashella. Natural aquariums, we often make exceptions to minimum fish for BAP for rare fishes. Yes, we do that as well. Flatbed said we should do an event in Bismarck. And I saw the 2 scenarios, Scotty. I'll scroll back up and look at them in a second. I'm 2 minutes past where I'm supposed to be, and I was supposed to be on a call at 5 after 7, and I'm going to be a little late for it. But I want to take the opportunity to thank you all for being here. I didn't know if I was going to make it, and you all always are here and make it so wonderful to be able to stream. And I'm always nervous coming into. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it or not, but I don't regret it when I do, and I enjoyed this time with you. Thank you so much for supporting me and the channel, and keep talking about the ideas of how to grow the clubs with the new generations, the new fish keepers, the younger generations. And I like to talk about getting more events and conventions going. I think we could build a fish fam or fish tuber convention and not really need clubs and stuff necessarily to back it. One last comment here. Funk says, is this your regular time and day? Pretty much. I try to stick to Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern. So with that being said, thank you all for being here, and I'll see you next week at 6 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. See ya. Thank you.